Hey, listeners. My name is Elisha, the founder of the Witnesses podcast. It's so beautiful to have you listening to our podcast. And I want you to know something that means a whole lot to me. Thank you for tuning in. And one thing I love to tell all of our listeners is it's not just about you listening, but listening to understand. Understanding is the most important thing. So important. So, you have to listen, learn, and practice. Thank you so very much and happy listening.
I'm good. Alicia, is that how I say it? Or
Yeah,
Eliza?
Elisha, you tried.
All right. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good. Glad to be here.
that's that's so good. Oftentimes I love to talk about the essence of this show, which is to invite amazing guests like Deanna, who have triumphed over one challenges or another, to come talk to us about their stories. Because we believe that in our audience, there might be someone who is stuck up in a situation that you came out of triumphantly. So by just listening, that person can pick an information that will lead to um, their transformation. So it's basically about transforming people's life, listening to other people's triumphant stories. All right, so Deanna, within the next few minutes, let us get started with your story, the challenges that you faced, and how you overcame it. Then afterwards, I've got some beautiful questions for you.
Okie dokie.
All right, let's
So
get
you
started.
okay? So you want me just to talk a little bit about my background?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a lot there, so I will cliff note it. Um, I'm the oldest of five. I grew up in the Chicagoland area. My father is a deadbeat. He ended up leaving. He was very abusive to my mother and myself. Ended up leaving at 15, never paying child support. So my mother and I were in cahoots. I basically a surrogate parent to my siblings. I end up repeating the cycle, unfortunately, which is very common amongst people that are abused, is that you pick a partner that's very similar to what you were raised in. And so I ended up doing that, picked a bad partner at 17, got involved in a lot of drugs and human trafficking. And it took me a lot of time to really just kind of discover that that was not the life that I wanted to lead. And so I slowly started working on myself. I got involved in martial arts. I started going to counseling, started reading a lot of self-help books, taught myself how to start meditating. And I ended up finally leaving that man after he abducted me, like beat me up. I have got a scar on my face which you can't see. I had plastic surgery. And so I ended up being single for a very long time. And then I met my late husband. And he was a larger than life big bodybuilder. I was like a bodybuilder at the time. Still am. I still consider myself a bodybuilder. And he pursued me for quite a while. And we ended up being together. I ended up was with him for 17 years of my life, building a very large life, living in the mansion, the private jets, all the fancy cars. And he ended up passing away about 8 years ago and essentially leaving me with nothing. And so I had to rebuild my life. And that last 8 years has been a uncovering and healing and just a lot of work on myself on the inside, coming to a place of gratitude and joy. And these are decisions that I have made to wake up every day being happy, being grateful, and choosing joy, because we can choose the other way and it just doesn't serve us at all. And yeah, that's a little bit of my backstory.
Okay. So let us get into the questions. All right.
Sure, let's do it.
Um, okay. Do you mind sharing with us your experience behind human trafficking?
So there's a lot of misconceptions around human trafficking. A lot of people think that it's like from the movie Taken, that you get abducted and you get shipped off to some foreign land, which is not true. That is a part of it, but it's also being coerced into doing sexual things with multiple men, being sold. Having someone coerce you into selling your body, sex for money. it is someone that has been abused, sexually abused by a family member. There are many different things that fall under the human trafficking category. And I unfortunately had a boyfriend, like I said, repeated the cycle that introduced me to sex work and wanting me to do, coercing me into doing a lot of things in bed that, not normally you would be exposed to at a very young age. And so, I was pretty numb to it. I've been asked this questions about it a lot, and I look back and I'm just glad that I didn't let the drugs take over, because I think that's where people lose themselves when they are in that situation, is losing their battle with addiction, or starting addiction. And I was very strong. I didn't ever turn to drugs to escape. I ended up like fighting my way out, so to speak, and getting counseling and really leaving that life behind. I love fitness. I'm very passionate about health and wellness. My mother always was working out when I was younger. So, like I said, I'm the oldest of five, and she was always taking care of herself. So I started working out when I was like 13, and when I was in high school, I started working out in the gym with the football players after school during lunch. And in my early 20s, I became a personal trainer. I'm a dietitian. I'm a life coach. And I've just always found a lot of growth within the process of being a bodybuilder. I've competed numerous times over 20 years. I've always placed to compete nationally. So I've always placed in the top 1 to 3rd place. And so I love it. And I still train very heavily and very often to this day. This is why I don't use Riverside. You're back. I can't hear you. Hello? I can hear you now. Yep. I can see you. Oh, now I can't.
So back to the question. Fitness. How do you get into it? Oh,
What are you doing over there? You pretty girl.
hi, Deanna.
Oh, boy. Okay. Artichoke. He's back.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, so sorry for that. I don't know what's wrong with the network. My network is really bad.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, so back to the question. How did you
I
get
answered
into
your question.
fitness?
I
Okay, you
answered your
answered it.
Yeah, it was still
Oh,
recording.
okay, okay. All right, so the third question. Are you also into fashion designing?
I am a former fashion designer. I
Oh,
designed 3 collections. It was always my dream. I'm a fashionista. I love style. I love clothes. I still do to this day. I have a vast wardrobe. Um, I learned a lot. I didn't go to school for fashion design. I actually hired a consultancy firm out of Soho, New York. And I told myself I was going to do 3 collections. And if it didn't take off after 3 collections, that was it. I was done. There's a lot that goes into it. Hindsight, I would have done things a lot differently. I was on the runway in Rhode Island for Style Week. I was a finalist for the Cadillac Design Challenge here at Style Chicago, and I did a successful Kickstarter for my first production run. I did, considering everything that I did within a short period of time, I did fairly well. But you have to have very deep pockets to invest in that whole process of creating the pattern, the samples, and then the production. It's not an easy venture, but I did it. I loved it. And if I ever go back to it, I would do things differently.
okay. What's the name of your fashion label?
It was Deanna Marie label, DM label.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. Talk to us about.
I do. It's been 5 years. I'm in the top 0.5% of all podcasters. I've worked very, very hard to get there. If anybody's out there listening, such as yourself, that has a podcast, consistency is key and quality is key to make sure that you are putting out content and staying true to your message. I started the podcast in 2019 as a passion project. I was tired of all the labels that people are putting on me, labels I put on myself, being a widow, being abused, being involved in human trafficking. So I started Label Free to live your best life, live label free. And it's just continued to go and rise and just excel everything I thought possible. So I talk to people that are entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, artists, people that are living life on their own terms or have overcome some kind of trauma like myself and are living a life of joy and happiness, gratitude, abundance. These are important things to not let these things define us to prevent us from living our best life.
Okay, that's a very good one. So, how is being a widow, how has it affected your life purpose? Would you like to talk about it?
How has it affected my life? What?
Yeah, your life purpose or
I
your
didn't understand
life.
that word.
Okay, how has being a widow affected your life and purpose? Or
Well,
I
I'm
didn't get it.
remarried now.
Okay,
So, um, that was a label that was really hard when I first, after I was, when I first started getting out in the dating world. I was labeled like sign of the cross, like, nobody really wanted to get involved with me. And it's really hard to get involved with someone after having a full life with someone else, and I honor, like, actually today is my late husband's birthday. So today I honor him. I honor the life I spent with him. I honor the memories that I have with him. And that part I can never erase. It's a part of me forever. And so, um, widow was a very hard label to live with for a very long time. I'm still kind of a widow, but I'm remarried and I have an incredible husband now.
okay, amazing. That's so good. All right, so
I couldn't hear the rest of the question.
yeah, hi. So sorry, so sorry.
That's
So,
okay.
in conclusion, what advice would you like to give to the audience? Let's say there's someone listening to you now. What advice would you like to give to them? And let's say they would like to reach out to you or listen to your podcast. How can that be possible?
Sure. So I'm going to leave some advice with the audience that I just wrote 3 letters, one to one to each of my sisters and one to my mother today. Just I'm feeling a lot of love inside of me and I wanted to let them know how I feel. And so one thing that I want to remind everybody that time is fleeting. I don't care how young, how old you are. We only have so much time in this world. We never know when our day has come. Only God knows. And I want to encourage everyone to step out, acknowledge what dreams they have and try to go after it. Maybe a little bit every day, a little bit every week. Embrace life today, tomorrow, and every day that we are blessed on this earth, because it is a beautiful life. Despite all of the negativity that's out there in the world, you choose what kind of life that you live. And I encourage everyone to chase your dreams. It might not work out, but at least you can say that you did it and you're going to leave a legacy behind. That I highly encourage you, because I've watched someone die at a very young age, lose their battle with life, and he left a very unfortunate legacy behind. And I don't want to see anyone out there that has a breath left in their body to do that to themselves. You can find me at all the things. Label Free Podcast is my podcast. I am released Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm very active on social media. You Google search Label Free. I'm going to pop up everywhere for pages and pages. So very easily searchable and very easy to find. I'm always willing to have a conversation with someone, so don't hesitate to reach out. All my contact info is listed everywhere. So labelfreepodcast.com, go to social media and you can shoot me a message and I'm happy to respond.
Thank you so very much, Deanna. Thank you for honoring
You're
the
welcome.
invite. That's gonna be the end of the show. Your words has been so full of insight, and I'm so happy that you actually explained so much.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to this incredible episode. Your support means the world to us, and we truly value you. We look forward to having you join us for the next episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback is greatly appreciated.